Hey garden friends, I am out here. I wanted to sow some geraniums. I'm slowly getting things done. There's so much going on that I can only do sowing, etc., little bits at a time. And this is something I've been wanting to do. So I have some geraniums that I wanted to get sown. Anyways, and these two are colors that I collected the seeds from my own plants. Now, because I have so many colors in my garden, I know they cross-pollinated and they won't come true necessarily. Some will, like on the red ones. Some will come true to red. And these ones are the fuchsias, which were right next to the red. So I'll get some fuchsias, but I also have like a salmon color, white color, a light pink apple blossom color, and those can somehow intermix. So these ones are an old set of seeds, well, from last year, Bullseye Mixed Geranium. This is from Swallowtail Garden Seeds. I have about 5 or 6, 7 seeds of this one in, and it says it has the chocolate purple leaves. I love colored, interesting foliage. So before we start sowing the seeds and filling with soil, I'm using a recycled container. I do this often. I don't buy special things. I have some 3 and 4 inch pots that I had gotten years, like 15 years ago, that I'm still reusing, so I don't need to buy some seed starting things, other than I have shared and these burpee little trays. And what I shared, what I loved about them was the bottoms. Not only do they have lots of holes for the roots to be able to expand, come out, root prune, but they're rubberized. See, it just is squishy. So when you go to pop up the seedlings out of the tray, then it just comes right out very easily. But I like to sow things where they are mass sown in one container. I could do these geraniums in that tray, but I'm going to save that for something else. So this is perfect. This is a spring mix organic. I think I got this mix at Walmart. I'm going to show you how I pierce it so it has lots of drainage. It already has some in it, some holes, because I had started this before. I have an alcohol burner. I'm out in my greenhouse. I've also done this on my gas stove in the house. And when I'm doing one tray at a time, sometimes I'll just wash these up, throw them in here. When I'm ready to come out and work on it a little bit, I do. I never have time just to do a whole bunch of stuff at once. I have to piecemeal it through the day because I have so many other chores to do, like my taxes. Still working on that. Okay, so I'm heating up. This is an old steak knife. This is what I also pierce the drainage holes in my winter sowing containers. My kitty's wanting to come in. Anyway, so here's the bottom of the container, and I just pierce it with the hot tip of the knife, and I twist. Twist, twist, twist. But you want plenty of drainage. Then I set my knife down. Then I fill up the container with the soil. Now, giving it a good depth of soil means that I will not have to transplant these as early as I would if it was shallower. I also don't use seed starting mix. The potting soil does great. This is E.B. Stone's Edna's Best. It's one of the quality potting soils I can get locally. There's several of them out there. But I level it out. I use the potting mix because it has nutrients in it, and the length of time I leave my seedlings in here, it needs that. So I have filled it up to the degree that I want. I will bottom water it. That's what this tray is here for. And I will start with the geranium, the Bullseye Geraniums from last year. And I'll just put all of the seeds in here. It looks so dark. Is it not getting lighter? Backlight. I don't know why it's not. Hopefully this turns out when my camera's not goofing up. Okay, we're getting a lot of backlight because the sun's hitting back there. I'll have to fix it post when I'm processing. Okay, got them all out of there. And this looks like I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seeds. They must have sent extras because I know I planted some last year. I just pick them up with my fingernail, plop them in there about an inch apart. It's not precise, and I just pop them down in there on top of the soil. And I will read the package for depth. Sow seeds. Usually the rule of thumb is two times deeper than their size. 1 inch, tender packet, 10 seeds. Sow seed, 2-inch pile, barely cover. See, wrong. So what I do with that is then, sometimes I'll use a vermiculite to cover it. Sometimes I will use horticultural sand, and other times I don't bother. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit right on those of soil. Firm them in. Very important. So I'm using the bottom of, this is a measuring scoop, and I just push it down onto the soil to make sure it has good contact. Good contact. I'm going to be going in, so I should turn off my burner. I have the cover thing to put on it. Oh well. Anyways, so that's those seeds. I'm going to do all the others the exact same way into the container. Then I'm going to set it in this tray of water. And you see how it's kind of floating? Hopefully you can see it's kind of floating. And that means that it needs water. I was sowing geraniums. Now I did the set of seeds that were in the package that were older. And these are the red ones that I had saved from my geranium. They still have the little white tails on them, or the little tails. See, oh, let me get the other ones out. Let me dump them out. Getting hard to dig them out of here. So you will see, like this one has a little white tail on it. I'm not sure if that focused for you. Oh, no, there it is. See, I'm going to pull it off. And you have the little seed. So right there, the seed, squinting at you. And I'm just going to put it right in here. The others were pelleted, meaning they had a little coating on it so that you could see. It's much colder today than it was the other day. Let me see, what is it in here? A little above, just right at 40. The other day it was in the 50s. So I'm going to sow these right along here. Now I have this divider in here. I've got it sitting in a tub of water to soak up, but I've got this divider, which is just a plant tag. I'll show you a plant tag that I had cleaned and sanitized, and then it's dividing between the last batch and these red geraniums. Make sure there's no other seeds here. And that way I know which ones are which. Not these were a mix of colors, so what I get, I don't know. But I was going to just test these ones to see what I ended up getting, because these were the red geraniums, but they were right next to some fuchsia ones. Okay, so there's those. Let's see, any more seeds in here? And one thing about it, I could just stick these out in the landscape like an annual, or I could try to overwinter them. I have blog posts and videos on how to overwinter geraniums indoors or like in a unheated basement. I have some in the basement. I probably beginning of March, I'll bring them out and pot them up and see how they did. I've got a whole bunch on my windowsills in my office. They're blooming right now, which is kind of fun when there's nothing else going on in the garden. And I'm just getting these all planted in here. Got plenty of space on this one. Now, not all of them may germinate. I'm just planting them all because there's no reason for me to save them over till next year. As I said, I can plant these out as annuals, put them in containers as fillers, etc. Okay, so that's all the red ones, and I will go ahead and I'll mark this tag with my marking pen that on this side is the red, and then I will know because I will forget red. And this side is mix. Let me put mix. Mix. So put that in there. And then I will put my lid back on to the container. And I'll take it out of this tub of water. I'm going to take this indoors, put it on my light rack, and let it go to town indoors and germinate. These should germinate. I didn't cover the seeds, did I? I should give them just a little sprinkling and then firm them down. Get ahead of myself here. Okay, I got them covered. Firm them down. Where's my little thing? As I do, I firm them down. Now this potting soil is pretty wet because I had let it soak before I put the seeds in. You can do it either way. You can seed them and then soak them, or you can soak them and then seed them. So there are my geraniums. I'm just going to write geraniums on top. Geraniums. So that is my super fast and easy and very cheap, on the dime, potting or seeding of Pelargoniums, or aka Zonal Geraniums. So I hope you enjoyed watching me seed some geraniums. Next up, or soon coming up, I'm going to show you how to pot up. Let me grab it. Pot up these bare root roses. I have to say it was pretty sad. I was in the big box store 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and these had just come in and they were gorgeous. I went in yesterday and most of them were letting them die, and all they needed was water. That's one of the things I don't like about this big box store of ours, is they just mistreat the plants something awful. Even though I said I was not going to buy any more, I couldn't let these ones die. I've always wanted Sexy Rexy. This one was only $10, which was pretty reasonable. I've bought these very inexpensive plants, roses, before. They've done great. Some people will say don't bother with them. I say give it a whirl. For $10, when normally you pay $30 to $50, give it a try. Just do one. The very first David Austin rose I had bought this way, and that's when I fell in love with them, because it did so well for me. So don't be afraid to give it a try. So that's one thing coming up. And here we are just a couple weeks later, and here's the geraniums we seeded. This is the ones that were pelleted out of the package. And then this one is the seeds that I collected from my geraniums. Now I think there was 9 seeds left, 4 germinated. And here I don't remember how many of mine I planted, but then there's 5. And these were noticeably, took longer to germinate, which it must be a variety. They can do that by variety. But over here, these are ivy geraniums, the ones that drape down out of containers and what have you. And I seeded them at the same time, but look how gorgeous those are doing. Those are going to be beautiful in my hanging baskets on my porch and in the garden. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and/or leave me a comment. Do you grow geraniums from seed? Or have you tried that yet? It is really a lot of fun. Even if you just collect seeds from friends who have geraniums, it all works.